Hi, this is Oswald Sobrino, and I'm here with another book video, Volume 2, on Cervantes, the author of Don Quixote. So this is 5 lessons from Cervantes, Volume 2. Volume 1 covered the first 14 chapters of the great classic Don Quixote de la Mancha by Miguel de Cervantes. In that chapter, I also introduced Miguel de Cervantes as a person, someone who was a soldier, an adventurer who faced many financial difficulties, but was so persistent that at the very end of his life, he produced what is considered the first modern novel in the West. And I went in detail over the first 14 chapters. Now in Volume 2, I do more chapters, completing the first part of the novel Don Quixote. The novel Don Quixote was published in 2 parts that were 10 years apart. The first part of the novel is what Volume 1 and 2 cover. Volume 2 completes that first part of the novel. So let me read and/or paraphrase from my introduction to Volume 2. In my first volume of 5 Lessons from Cervantes, I briefly introduced the life of Cervantes and commented on the first 14 chapters of his great classic, Don Quixote de la Mancha. That first volume contains a general introduction to Miguel de Cervantes as a soldier, a poet, a frustrated playwright, and probably the greatest novelist in the Western tradition. In Volume 1, I noted that my central key to interpreting the famous novel is that of existentialist philosophy, especially that of the Spanish existentialist philosopher José Ortega y Gasset. What is the existential situation of Don Quixote? It is that of an aging man seeking glory before his light goes out. Since we all age and are mortal, it's a situation that applies to all of us. It's universal. Many of us also have a strong drive to find meaning and significance in our mortal lives. A significance which for Don Quixote is centered on pursuing the glory described in the books of chivalry to which he was addicted. We may no longer read or fantasize about knights and chivalry like Don Quixote did in his time. But we can generalize his obsession with chivalry by considering our own modern obsessions for meaning in life. I assume that we seek meaning in life by living a good life, which brings us close to the ideals of chivalry, which included honoring the beloved and serving and protecting those who are vulnerable in life. As I said, Volume 1, already published, takes us through the first 14 chapters of Don Quixote. This Volume 2 covers the remaining 37 chapters of Part 1 of the novel, which was published in 1605. 10 years later, Cervantes would publish the second part of his novel, the second and final part. So with Volumes 1 and 2, you cover all of the first part of Don Quixote de la Mancha, published in 1605. My plan is for future volumes 3 and 4 to take us through Part 2 of the novel, published in 1615, 10 years later. By necessity, I am more selective on the chapters I focus in this Volume 2 and in the future volumes 3 and 4 that, Lord willing, will come thereafter. I do not address each individual chapter as I did in Volume 1. I did that in Volume 1 to introduce the reader to the texture of the novel with a more detailed commentary. This volume and future volumes dispense by a very exact chapter-by-chapter commentary and seek to pick out what is most significant in our quest to more profoundly understand the insights of Cervantes in his great masterpiece. The 5 chapters in this Volume 2 are Chapter 1, Strong Passions Thwarted, Chapter 2, Galley Slaves and Lust, Chapter 3, Tragedy, Comedy, and Healing, Chapter 4, 2 Novels Intrude. Cervantes has mini-novels or novellas that intrude into the main plot, where people recount their stories and things that have happened in their lives. So there are many novels that intrude or interpolate the main plot of the adventures of Don Quixote and Sancho Panza. Those intruding novels yet are full of insight, and I cover those. Chapter 5, the final chapter in Volume 2, Chaos and Literary Theory at the Inn. The inn becomes a place where people meet, where they gather, where they read works of literature to each other, and where we see a lot of talk about literature and its purpose and its value. So that's Volume 2. You'll find more adventures of Don Quixote and Sancho Panza. You'll find interesting discussions about literary theory, the purpose of a good novel to delight and to teach. And to teach, we take seriously. That's why I write this, to draw insights for life, philosophical insights for life, out of this great masterpiece. If you get Volume 1, you'll learn more about Miguel de Cervantes, and his dates are, he lived 1547 to 1616. He died on virtually simultaneously in the same year and day as William Shakespeare. Cervantes is acknowledged as a pioneering author without peer in the Western tradition. He is someone who brings a realism, a humor, a sense of comedy, and also a sense of tragedy about human life, the human life we all live, and that continues to develop as we age and as we continue the quest, like Don Quixote, to find meaning and significance and a form of glory in our present lives. Thank you very much.